How's it going, guys? Spencer-Mack here. Welcome to the laboratory. Had quite a few people asking for me to share my oil press scenario, and I want to share with you guys. This is the machine I've been using. Boom! I got this for about 300 bucks. You can buy them on Amazon now. Previously, I had to get mine through Alibaba. So it's got this corkscrew heated element that pushes the seeds through. This is the tray you set them in, and you catch them in this oil thing below here. It heats up and you can regulate the heat on it. I normally push it like 120 degrees around there. It can go as low as 90, 88. The heat actually helps you get more oil out of the seeds. The seeds that I've been doing most frequently are the Chia, and this is hemp seed. I got these in bulk, about 25 pounds of them, and that came down to about $3.80 a pound. These are about 2 pounds for $6, so $3 a pound. I end up getting 14 ounces out of this guy. I think it might have been 16, 17 actually. So even when I'm consuming like 1,800 calories from fat, it's like $4 a day. So it ends up being relatively cost efficient, especially compared to other things that I've done. So I'm just gonna kind of kick it in the kitchen style, have this thing running, talk story, chia seeds. Turn this thing on. I've learned to start feeding it gradually, so you don't stop it up right in the beginning. Chia seeds. Such a fan of the chia. One of the highest sources of ALA, alpha-linolenic acid. One thing with the chia though is it's so small that it can fall through some of the grinds, some of the grate that the oil gets pressed out of. What's going on, Jay? Hanuman! Dude, I'm such a fan of your name, brother. So it's got this little screen here to catch the seeds that fall through, and this is where it extrudes the excess. I've got all sorts of creative ideas as to what I can do with this stuff here. I see the stream health isn't super high, and that's probably because I'm downstairs in my kitchen. So if we see that that's a continuing trend, then I'm just gonna have to cut it out. Dear Lord, please allow this feed to have excellent connection, to have epic stream health. You guys let me know, comment on the health of the feed. So yeah, right now I'm just gonna do chia one at a time. Load it up. Like I said, this cost me about 300 bucks. It's lasted me 2 years so far. These bags of chia at Costco are about $6. So when I run them through here, I get 3 days of food basically, calorie-wise. I'm going to I'm around 120 to 150 grams of fat. And so whenever I decided that I was going to try to experiment by running on mainly fat, I wanted to know, good deal brother, thank you. I wanted to know what is the best source of fat, right? So I've done all sorts of reading and research on many different types of fatty acids. And there are only 2 that you actually need, they say, that are required. They're called the parent EFAs, or the parent essential fatty acids. And these are linoleic acid and alpha-linolenic acid. And those are found in plants, highly concentrated in chia seeds as well as hemp seeds. And it just so happens it tastes delicious. So I also put the same oil on my skin, use it on my body, oil pull with it. I basically just saturate in this stuff because I'm such a fan of it. And it does take some time. It takes me about half an hour to press all of the oil that I need for about 4 days or so. And like I said, I scored these in bulk. I got them from nuts.com. You can get a 25-pound bag of these things, and that comes down to around $3.50 a pound. You get a good amount of oil out of it. My third favorite oil is pumpkin seeds. I buy these in bulk from the local store. Alright, what's up? Yeah. How's it going, Adrian? I'm just sharing how I get a lot of my oil. This is an oil press. See if I can rearrange the camera so you can see. Maybe I can rearrange the angle of this thing, so you can see the oil going. There we go. Yeah, you can kind of see it on the camera. But that's the game. Using this has been just a godsend. It's saved me a lot of money. Super cheap. Excellent source of oils. So yeah, basically just want to share that. And it takes time, so I'm going to be kicking it for a minute. So those of you just tuning in, this is an oil press. I bought it off of the interweb for about $300, almost 2 years ago. Alright, thank you, James. And so I'm just throwing all of my favorite seeds in. When I was researching hemp seeds, I found some awesome videos and information that the Hunza people, those long-lived individuals in the Caucasus Mountains, use hemp seed oil. And they showed this old school oil press that had these 2 giant stones that they cranked and turned like a wheel, and the oil poured out through this channel, and they were using crude hemp seed oil. That's another cool thing I like about this, is I don't like double filter it, so what I'm getting is a crude press. So this is still going to have amino acids and all sorts of other elements of the seed itself in the press, like from the pumpkin seeds, which are just super high in potassium, magnesium, manganese. What's the other one? Basically, pumpkin seeds are the jam, and they're freaking delicious. So yeah, that's the laboratory, my friends. Gotta make them oil gains, right? What I really like is what it does for my skin. I will say, I was doing this before without, I was buying hemp seed and flaxseed oil from the store, and it was getting expensive, and that's why I ended up doing this. So I'd like to express, for people adapting this, your body takes time to adapt to a new fuel, right? You end up having to produce more bile to digest the fats, but fats are actually used to create more bile in turn, so it all comes back to feed itself. So just slowly but surely, incrementally raise the fats. Like, I'm throwing this in my smoothie in the evening. I drink it over about an hour, and it's like 150 grams of fat, and I don't have any issues with it. Treats me well. What do I do with the excess shells? That's a great question. I've made pancakes. I've made waffles, I should say. I'm a much bigger fan of waffles than pancakes. I've made breads out of them. The chia is really hydrophilic, like it'll soak up a whole lot of water. So I don't consume a lot of it because it'll kind of stop me up, you know, it's just too much fiber. I want to use them to ferment and culture edible mushrooms. That's on the list. Once I get the time and the place to do that, my dream is to cultivate mycelium as a food. Pretty fantastic stuff. You can grow like lion's mane on a substrate like this. It'll actually digest and break down the substrate for you and produce some epic plant compounds, or fungal compounds, I should say. Have you read anything on flax having lowering effect on testosterone. I have not. Not in 5 to 7 servings chronically taken. I haven't seen any negative side effects of that. In fact, granted, these are animals, right? They took soy and flaxseed oil and tried them in different ratios in rats. And the rats that had 3/4 flaxseed oil and 25% soy, compared to the other groups, had a greatly raised level of testosterone and luteinizing hormone, which are precursors for other hormones like testosterone, and also had larger litter sizes, healthier pups. So it was really notably beneficial for their reproductive health. I researched the hell out of it, flax and soy, because I was considering consuming so much of it. And whenever I go on experiments like this, I tend to stick to the same thing for a long period of time. So I very critically dive into these things because I don't want to wreck my testosterone. I'm trying to train and gain some muscle, right? Aloha, my friend. God bless and have a great evening. Thank you, John. Yeah, so much noni, Brandon. You must know what's up, dude. Noni up to the eyes. What else we got here? Yeah, so I'm looking to ferment. I've made fermented breads with them as well. You can make crackers, you can make wraps. I've actually fed them, I feed them to my plants, basically. They go out into the garden. Yeah, isn't that cool that our bodies do recycle bile? It's pretty trippy. And something that's interesting, like eating a low-fat diet can lead to gallbladder stones, to gallstones, because they're stagnant there. I did a cleanse with a doctor in Thailand, and he was having me take shots of pumpkin seed oil actually in the evening, as you were basically doing mini liver flushes every evening. So I thought that was a pretty cool approach as opposed to one intense one. So the way that I live is kind of like that right now, because in the evening I drink a good quantity of this. Hey Mark, it's Mac actually, but yes, that happens a lot. What do you think about anti-nutrients in certain nuts and seeds, and how do you deal with them? I think it's a science that we actually don't know as much about as we think we do. Like phytic acid, people call an anti-nutrient, but now they're selling phytic acid as a supplement. It's actually a store. It's how the plant stores phosphorus, and it keeps it for when the plant is about to grow. Because phosphorus, if you know anything about gardening, N, P, and K, right? Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Phosphorus is what fuels growth. There's some cool studies on the use of phosphorus in athletes as well, and I'm quite fascinated as well. That's why I use this calcium phosphate in my water as one of the electrolytes, because this is a nice blend, good ratios of calcium and phosphate, which are vital nutrients. They're two of the macro minerals. Let's see what else we got here. So yeah, I need to start some kind of a bakery because I definitely get a lot of this press. And like I said, the chia seeds tend to fall through because they're small. So I just end up having to dump some of the ones back in the top. You ever see gallstones in your poo? I can't say I have. Liquid cultures. You showed us on Instagram before. No. Man. So I'm not even really sure which. Oh yeah, I think I know. Let me see what we got in here. You guys just want to be grossed out to the max. This is a complete alien. I know, look at that. Yeah. So it looks kind of like kombucha, but it's a totally different entity. You go do a readout in a laboratory. So this is a liquid culture. I got this from a friend who supposedly got it from the lineage of what they call Jun. And it's kind of like kombucha, but elevated. This will actually kind of will turn to alcohol as opposed to vinegar or acetic acid like kombucha does, because the SCOBY, which is a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, is composed of different bacteria and yeast than the ones that you get in your normal kombucha. I haven't been making a lot of it. I used to be fascinated and basically obsessed with that stuff and brewed it all the time. That is so much more enjoyable than kombucha to me though. And you can use those types of scobies to digest and break down the compounds in plants, and they create even more absorbable forms of those nutraceuticals. Fruit addict. What's up, brother? Uses beans as his main calorie source. He does. Have you used beans as your main meal? I did for many months. Yeah, definitely. I mimicked and imitated it to the highest degree. I was eating tofu, which I still do. I still eat a lot of soy. Tofu and beans and rice. Went at it, man. That was my food. Super delicious, super filling, but it just it's slow to digest for me. It takes time. It's not ideal. Like this, I wake up empty. I drink it and I don't feel full. I mean, I feel full, like I'm not hungry anymore, but it's not like taking up a lot of space in my gut. How much raw foods do you eat? Right now, I guess if you consider this a raw food, it is mildly heated. It's under 118 though, which that technicality I could rant on because doesn't really make sense when you understand enzymes and what you get out of the plant for that specific temperature. So if this is considered raw, this is a majority of my calories, is oils right now. Then on top of that, I get plant proteins, which I don't know if you can consider, plant proteins to be raw. If they're extracted, like protein powders. So, and I go in and out of it. I want to start hitting the noni leaf. I want to throw noni leaf and turmeric into a blender with water and start drinking that during the day. Noni leaf has some profound research on it for its ergogenic effects. And ergogen is something that enhances athletic performance, which I'm very interested in. So noni leaf, I've made extracts before. I've dehydrated it, I drink it as a tea, but I want to try like the fresh juice of it and see what it's like. Yeah, it is like an alien, huh? What? Whoa. Really is Alan. Yeah, oh, that's what we're talking about. Can you drink kombucha on a fast? Technically, no, because it has sugar in it. I tried doing experiments where I was fermenting it with very low amounts of honey in there, so that by the time it was done fermenting, technically there would be no more sugar in it. It would be mainly acetic acid, which is actually, it ends up producing ketones. So it becomes like a ketone supplement if you ferment all the sugars down. But it was just too questionable, and it just didn't feel good when I drank it. So I just got off of it, just to simplify things. Yeah, I know. Me and Dan, I love Dan, and thank you for tuning in. Me and Dan definitely have, I'm in a really different place right now dietarily. This is my experiment. Me and Dan have very different diets, and I love what he's doing. I love his dedication, his consistency, and the simplicity and beauty of what he's doing. I fully love and support it. And we're all different, so I think we should all figure out what works for us. And I just have fun right now learning the alchemy of the elements that compose my body. And right now, what I've read on ALA and certain fatty acids fascinates me in the sense of regeneration, anti-inflammatory, athletic performance, cognitive function. Those are the things that I'm pursuing this science for. To water content of food and optimal digestion, please. Eating greens, tomatoes, lemon juice, dinner while I consider the beneficial. It fills my stomach. That's one of the reasons why Amen doesn't do his diet raw. I remember when I first got on the Amen protocol, I was like, hey, I'm going to do this better, right? I'm going to live on sprouts and microgreens. And I was growing a whole bunch of sprouts and microgreens, something I'd done before. he had done that as well. He had already been down the sprout track. The thing is, when you're trying to eat all of your calories in one meal in the evening, and they're raw foods, you're not going to be able to fit that much fiber in your stomach comfortably. So I know many people who have tried, they still shoot for it. It just doesn't work for me. Like I said, I prefer this because I'm done eating, I'm completely full, but there's nothing there. Like when I wake up, I'm not still digesting. When I go to sleep, I'm not still digesting. At least it doesn't feel that way. We truly do have some of the best resources. It's true, man. Nice. Noni's a legend. I find that fruit hilarious. Because you either love it or you hate it. It's kind of like durian. Noni is actually an excellent painkiller. You living there, you probably drank enough. Have you ever just taken like 8 ounces of it, like drank an insane amount? Then you walk around, you forget about it, maybe like 15, 20 minutes later, you're like, I can't feel my body. Like, I feel really good. Noni is a painkiller. It's a very good one, in fact. So I'm going to take some of this oil. Take some of these seeds that have fallen down into the tray. Dump them back. So I actually do end up getting some of the chia in the oil whenever I make my smoothies. So I am getting some fiber that way. Some of the chia fiber, I should say. Alright, where are we at? Yeah, Dan is very knowledgeable. That's so true. Yep, we all got to put the pieces together. What I find, so many people preach truths as like, this is the way that it is. But really, you know, some people are closer than others, but we're really all still learning, right? This is an educational process, so I'm always really wary of people who preach it as if they know the truth. I mean, look how much has changed just in the last couple of years, right? Oh wait, saturated fat's not bad for you. Oh wait, cholesterol is good for you. Oh wait, you can live on eating nothing but meat. How true is that? Not going to pursue that though. But this is basically me recreating the macros of such a diet. And saving money doing it. Cool, thank you James. I definitely will, man. I try to keep them all on the video list. You can't do raw food or fruit on OMAD and calorie restriction. Yeah, you can't do a lot of it, you know. It's cool to get some to like bring a balance in, you know, or at least like tap into the life force, but you can't eat a whole bunch of it. That's why I think, you know, one way that you might be able to do a lot of raw food is if you had made really fatty salads. Like if you ate a whole bunch of sprouts with a ton of fat on it. That's one way that I could see it working out. Lots of greens with a lot of fat. And you could do the intermittent fasting, you fast all day, and then you have a super fat salad. I did that for a little bit. Save the live stream. So caloric density is the key. Yeah, high foods like avocados, coconut, nuts, seed oils would still be to be consumed raw. Is it better to leave greens out entirely to improve digestion? That's something that's up to the individual. Like, how does it affect you? Do you digest greens well? How do they feel? Right now, I'm creating what I call an elemental diet. I want to just create something that's completely hypoallergenic. Nobody could have a complaint to, and it's something that people could drop back into to kind of reset. And then you could gradually introduce foods into it. So, that being said, give it a shot. Try it out. I love to saute mine, or I like pressure cookers. So yeah, it's something just to feel yourself. I do put psyllium husk into my smoothie, which has all this fat in it. And I also use sunflower lecithin, which is an emulsifier, which also helps the digestion and absorption of the fats. And the lecithin is actually composed of phospholipids, which are very useful and necessary components of the cellular membrane as well. My go-to smoothie. So I'm basically a robot. I tend to pick something or eat something and I'll just live on it for like a couple months, at least a month. I lived on waffles for a month straight. I lived on poi toast for a month straight. I lived on salads and rice for a month straight. You know, beans for months on end. So right now I'm breaking with a smoothie that composes everything that I need in it. So that smoothie is basically the almond elixir, which has, you know, a multivitamin mineral in it. The base can be water, soy milk, hemp milk, something like that. Multivitamin mineral in it. Then I put a bunch of this oil in it, 100, 150 grams even. Sunflower lecithin in it to emulsify it. Then I put a bunch of amino acids, an amino acid blend, which I'm going to do a video on tomorrow. All the amino acids, and then I throw plant proteins in there. Sometimes I throw enzymes in there to help break down the plant proteins. Where are we at? I'm also taking an extra iron and copper supplements. Sometimes I take probiotics and a little bit of psyllium in there, but that's it. And that goes into about half of this. What does that come to? It's like 32 ounces. Throw some ice cubes in there, some stevia. I like cinnamon and ginger and cacao. And that's my go-to. That's where I'm at. And so that whole thing contains anywhere from 1,800 to like 2,200 calories. And I drink it really slowly. And then once a week or so I'm having like a carb fiesta where I'm eating a bunch of waffles. In your electrolyte video, is it meant to be drank cloudy? Also, is magnesium bicarbonate available, a viable source of magnesium in water? I haven't done enough research on the magnesium bicarbonate. I don't know how stable it is. Whenever I make a whole bunch and then I put it in the fridge, you know, you see the magnesium oxide condense at the bottom, right? So how much is actually falling out? How much is actually suspended in the water? It just made it difficult for me to dose accurately. So that's one reason why I wasn't a fan of it. That, and you have to make it, you know, regularly. So yeah, the drink is cloudy. This is what mine looks like. So this has you know, magnesium, calcium phosphate that I shared. This calcium phosphate, potassium chloride, sea salts. Sometimes I'll put iodine. I put fulvic and humic acid in it. Sometimes I'll put the copper and the iron in there. I'm basically just trying to create a complete mineral concoction and saturate myself in that. How was your experience with high-fat salad? That's basically what I do now, and it works. Nice, bro. But you and I both know it doesn't stop when something is passable. Right on, Zachary. I know, man, I'm the same way. Yeah, just for me, that took more energy to digest. It also just took more effort. I'm kind of lazy. Just collecting all the greens that would go into it, sauteing them, cleaning up after. It is delicious. God bless it. I'll probably will come out of this into that. Greens will probably be like the first thing that I bring in. But this, for me, is just extremely efficient. It's way cheaper, and it's just super easy. And for me, it's just easier to digest. So, I can't tell you which one's better, man. I think the fat salads or sauteing with a whole bunch of fat is a really... I like that approach. I'm such a fan. How's it been working out for you? And what do you have to compare it to? Oil, baby. Ever had any shipping or quality issues with nuts.com? I'm looking for better nut. No, I actually haven't, and I really like them. I like the people that work for them, their packaging. They've been around since like the 1930s too. Everything that I've got from them is super fresh. These hemp seeds are the jam. I'm just gonna. That didn't count as breaking my fast. So these hemp seeds, I know you can't see, but they still have the hull on them, yeah? They still have the shell, so there's a good amount of fiber. They're freaking delicious. Like I said, I saw that the Hunza people used hemp seeds and made their own hemp seed oil. They had this awesome press, so that inspired me. It comes out of this dark green oil. It smells delicious. Like I said, I put it on my skin and on my food. Freaking amazing. So yeah, nuts.com are epic. I really like them. I can actually get pumpkin seeds cheaper at my local health food store though. Electrolyte in comparison to Cole's snake juice. What an inspiration. Yeah. What is hilarious, like I've been putting, sea salt and magnesium in my water for years. I ran into potassium deficiency doing this chronic intermittent fasting. And so then I started looking into the ratios and how much potassium and how much you could take at once. I was studying all these World Health Organization studies that they use to define the best way to rehydrate dehydrated individuals. Really gets into specifics. And along that path, I found Cole's recipe. And that was when he was making his single condensed one. I actually went and checked him out 2 days ago after another friend said, hey, he said that I stole Snake Juice's recipe. I love what he's doing. I think it's a great idea. And what's funny is, after seeing his original one, which he was using potassium chloride and sea salt, he's changed his recipe, and where he's at in his ratios is really close to what I'm doing as well. So that feels good to me. It's a good confirmation as to percentage and ratios. He's choosing to use magnesium sulfate. I'm going to get magnesium malate. It's more easily absorbable. It's also water soluble, and just has a better research backing it. So that's the one that I'm choosing. Currently, I've been using ionic magnesium. They get ionic magnesium from deep ocean water. They condense and desalinate deep ocean water. So this one has like 400 milligrams of magnesium in it per half a teaspoon. I'm shooting for like 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams of magnesium a day. That's something you ease into. Another benefit of the magnesium malate is that you can take higher dosage because it's a chelate and it won't give you the laxative effect. So that's a difference. And then I'm using potassium bicarbonate. Chia boom! Potassium bicarbonate. And so that I can lower the chloride content. I think that's what he ended up having to do because he started using potassium or sodium bicarbonate. So I think that's in an effort to lower the the chloride content. So we're very similar, extremely similar, except I also add this calcium phosphate. So these are two more, right? You got calcium, phosphate, magnesium, potassium, sodium, and actually bicarbonate acts as an electrolyte. So those 6 are the macro minerals in the electrolytes. So I add in potassium or calcium phosphate. And it's shown that you actually absorb it to a higher degree when you drink it over a period of time, right, as opposed to high dosage. So it makes sense to me to just throw it in your drinking water. So those are the differences, my friend. And yeah, I love Cole's idea. I don't really see anything beneficial over fasting more than 48 hours. Amin's original protocol was fasting 48-hour increments. He ate every other day. But because he trained and he found it nearly impossible to gain eating every other day, it was inhibiting his training, then he changed it to eating every evening. Why is phosphate as important? For some reason in the UK it's hard to get calcium phosphate. Interesting, I wonder why. So, too much phosphate, right? People are afraid of phosphate because it's found in sodas and it's used in like a lot of breads and processed foods. Too much phosphate actually causes calcification of the soft tissue. You want the right ratio of calcium to phosphate, but they are extremely necessary. Phosphate is what makes up ATP, the energy currency of the body. So we need phosphate for multiple other reasons as well, the depth of which I'm not well schooled in. But just to put it at that phosphate is at the root of all of our energy currency. Adenotriphosphate, I forget the pronunciation of it. ATP is a phosphate. And then the cells of the membrane of our cells is composed of phosphates, of phospholipids. So phosphorus is a vital element. I believe it's like the third or fourth highest requirement for an element that we have. And you need phosphorus and calcium to recalcify bone and to recalcify your teeth, to rebuild your teeth and to harden your bone. Would you say lacking potassium in the body causes muscle stiffness? Yes, it certainly does. It causes cramping, causes fatigue, it causes poor digestion. You can't produce stomach acid without it. It's in your salivatory glands, like you produce enzymes with it as well, I believe. You actually are inhibited with your ability to draw nutrients into the cells if you're low on potassium. So basically it can stop you from gaining muscle if you are low in potassium. That's why I feel like I'm getting thicker and I'm not really changing anything other than I've been really saturating myself in the minerals. Yeah, so potassium was like my number one deficiency. So that's why I chronically drink it now. That's where I choose to get it. Pumpkin seeds are a good source. Yeah, that'll do it, man. You drink nothing but distilled water, you're basically diluting your mineral pool. You gotta put minerals back in. So those of you just tuning in, this is an oil press. I bought it off the internet, like $300. Had it for like 2 years. Been experimenting with a vegan ketogenic diet. That's how it's going. Something along those lines. I got some chia seeds on me. And so whenever I decided to go vegan, ketogenic, I was like, alright, what is the best oil source? What is the best fat source? And that's one difficult part of being vegan and trying to do ketogenic, is that you can't just eat all avocados and olives. It's just not ideal. So I got this thing. Greens, dandelion, spinach, kale. Nice, brother. All food inspired by Marcus. Nice. Life force of micronutrients that are denatured or killed off from cooking. That's a great question. Isn't that the question, man? So, enzymes in plants, there is not much supportive evidence of those enzymes you consume actually becoming systemic or circulating throughout your body. If you take high doses of bromelain consistently, bromelain, the enzyme from papaya or from pineapple, will end up circulating throughout your system. It will become systemic and have pronounced benefits. I think that's one of the main micronutrients people talk about whenever they're bringing up cooked food. It's just for each their own. To me, the mineral content, a lot of the polyphenols and elements such as that make it through the cooking. So I am honestly not against it. There are certain elements and there are certain types of nutrients that actually become more absorbable whenever you do cook them, because a lot of it is trapped in the cellulose. And cooking is an art, right? It's not an all or nothing kind of thing. You can overcook and damage it, but heat is an art, right? You apply it right at the right temperature, you pre-digest your food, you make it more easy to absorb, and you don't denature it. So that's the ticket. I think it's all a matter of dosage, as with everything. Yeah, cacao for Rizzle all day. Yeah, brother. Well, good tune in, man. I'm about to be out as well, my friend. So any last questions, let me know. I just want to jump on here. I had some questions to show you guys the oil press. Love this thing. Currently saturating my body in ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, found in hemp seeds, found in chia seeds, and that's my experiment. That in the right ratio with linoleic acid, and then the broad variety of other amazing compounds found in these seeds that make it through in this crude pressed oil. Awesome, guys. Lots of love and appreciation. If you appreciated this, please like it. Please press the bell for notifications for the next time that I go live, whenever I post something new, and circulate the information if you found it useful. Subscribe if you have not already, and leave any questions of realms of interest in health, wellness, personal regeneration. That is what I'm into. Yeah, teeth. Right on, brother. Or joy, miss, perhaps. That's a good one. I will get into that. Thank you. Thank you, Adrian. Awesome. Yeah, well, keep hitting me up, brother. Let's keep the energy circulating. Go eating avocados and olives. I'm saying that trying to get ALA and alpha-linolenic acid, the fatty acids that I want to eat, the type of fats that I want are in those. Yeah, avocados and olives will work for a while. I have done that, and it was delicious, but it's just not ideal for me personally. And from the research that I've seen, these are the types of fats that I want. I'm just an independent researcher. This is just my opinion, and this is fully an experiment. So I'll let you know how it goes. You can just watch and witness, keep tuning in. The profound research on ALA is extremely exciting and very interesting. That's why I like it so much. It boosts the accretion of muscle mass. It lowers inflammation, increases cognitive function, lowers depression. It's a precursor to EPA and DHA. It heals the epithelial cells or the cell wall in the intestine. So people with digestive issues or intestinal issues, ALA has been shown to help regenerate the intestines. How long have you been on this oil for? This round has been about a month. I went about 3 months in before I hit that potassium wall. And I just dropped the whole fat thing because I wasn't sure what my dis-ease was from. I didn't know it was potassium at first, so just in case it was because I was living on a massive amount of oil, I dropped the oil. Yeah. So yeah, I've done 3 months in a row before. That's the longest that I've done as an experiment with this. So we'll see how it goes. Right on, Zachary. Thank you, brother. Mahalo. Mahalo, brother. Yeah, for me this is optimal, man. At least right now. This is what I've been enjoying. The answer is probably both. Blended together. Awesome, guys. That's about all I got for the day. Lots of love and appreciation. Please stay tuned, subscribe, like, all that wonderful stuff. And I'll see you guys in the future. Alright, aloha.